I think we do need to break old habits, and here's what I mean by that. When we look at the kinds of content that's being put out into the marketplace versus the user behaviors that are in the marketplace, there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect. And a lot of what we're seeing in terms of content development is traditional content development. It follows the rules of television. It follows the rules of film. And you could argue those rules are based upon, hundreds of year-old theories about how you tell a story and what the story arc should be. When we look at what users are actually doing with content, we see a very different consumption pattern. We're looking at creating a new kind of content that actually matches the way the audience engages with digital devices and digital experiences. What we can do now in the digital space is actually not just look at exactly how many people interacted with a piece of content. We can see exactly what they did during that interaction. Where did they fast forward? Where did they rewind? Where did they pause? That is a groundbreaking opportunity for us if we accept it. And it's a challenge to accept it. It's a little scary because it takes away some of our judgment. It takes away things that we may think of creatively or think of as storytellers as what really works. And now we can see for the first time on a chart, hey, you know what you did at 1 minute and 30 seconds into your video didn't work. It killed your traffic. People left, or people fast forwarded through it till something interesting came along. And because of that, because people now have the opportunity, using things like a scrubber bar on the bottom of a video on YouTube and things like that, they can interrupt the linear viewing process of the content. When we make content for a medium like television, we're assuming that the viewer is going to sit down and watch it. And yes, in the age of the DVR, that gets disrupted as well, but that's still how television is made, under the assumption that somebody's going to start at second one and watch it through till the final frame. In digital, we know that that's not the usage pattern. That's not the behavior. I mean, for online video, you're lucky if 40% of your audience actually watches the entire clip. Really successful videos have a completion rate of about 60 or 70%. But for the most part, we're talking about 60% of your audience not making it to the end of your story. So if you know that 60% of your audience is going to abandon your video at some point, you have to front load your story. You have to start telling it in a different fashion so that you get the bulk of it up front and not assume that somebody is going to wait till the end for the big reveal. And one of the places where this has great impact is the industry standard of putting a URL at the end of a video. And that's what we've been doing for years. But if you think about it, if you know that 60% of your audience is likely not to make it to the end of the video, and that's where your engagement call is, you're essentially saying that those people don't matter. More than half your audience will never see that call to action. So we know there have been some studies done over the last 6 or 7 months that show a download wait of 2 or 3 seconds is about the maximum that a user will allow before they move on to something else. So if your video doesn't start through its player in the first 2 to 3 seconds of the person clicking play, chances are they're gone. Then when we look at what happens in the video itself, we've got another 3 or 4 seconds to engage them in the story, or else they're gone. So what that tells us is there's this window of maybe 5 to 7 seconds from the time that play is clicked through the time that the video starts and starts to engage the audience, where they're going to make the decision of, I want it or I don't want it. I'm Rob Davis, Executive Director of the Content Marketing Practice at Ogilvy One, and these are Scrubber Bar Stories.